But these moments help, reinvent us, right?
Yes. Yes.
And especially when you get into this level of entrepreneurship, the change is absolutely necessary. The change is the part that makes us better, right? Mm-hmm. And so I know that you've given this amazing context to how you've gotten to this place, but the truth is you wouldn't have been able to understand how important the story is for each founder and how that story is going to impact them in the market because you had to experience it yourself. One of the things, Patrice, that I have to give credit to with you is that not only from what I already know now, especially with this context of what you've brought, they didn't just come with, I was, award-winning Today Show producer. This was, I did it all wrong, right? Look at all the things I did wrong. And then I have now come to figure out just how important these elements are, the 1, 2, 3 points and why this matters. And so you didn't just come with experience and understanding, you also came with the element of being one of those founders, of being a business owner that had to figure something out the wrong way and just what impression you give when people go and they look at you for the first time. And I think that's really important because we shouldn't be teaching what we don't understand. We should only teach really, truly what we know how to do. And I think especially in our field, right? In this realm right now, in this coaching and in consulting side, there's so many people that are trying to teach and develop that they don't know. Like they're just grabbing it and maybe they have a little bit of knowledge, but they didn't get there, right?
No,
they didn't build that.
That's such a great point. And I always say that because now it's funny, the past year, the brand video side, I still have that side, but when COVID hit, that fell apart, when production stops, it always seems like when I'm pregnant, like these major, horrible things happen. So again, COVID hit, I was pregnant with my third kid, which by the way, my poor son is the only person who's ever going to have older siblings in 2020. No one was deciding to have another baby in 2020, especially living in a New York apartment. Let's have a third baby. But the production stopped. I remember being oh my God, I'm pregnant with my third. How am I making money? And prior to COVID, it's so serendipitous, but 3 months before COVID, so December, I remember thinking, I have got to figure something else out because at the time I was running around like an insane person, tripods and shoots and video shoots. And you have to understand, I have to pay out my team. So any business that I brought in, it was automatically cut in half. My margins were always 50% because I have to pay out my shooters, my editors, my animators. And all of a sudden, maybe that $50,000 project or whatever it is, it's automatically in half and you cut that half again for tax. And then those projects also have a longer sales cycle. So it was oh my God, I am hustling all the time, always networking, always out. I felt exhausted. I'm this is not fun. This is not entrepreneurial freedom. I'm give me a 2-week paycheck any day. I was this is horrible. So I was already feeling angsty. And I remember being and so at the time, I did not know that online business was a thing. I did not know that people made money online. I know that sounds crazy, but I did it. If you would have mentioned, I don't know, Amy Porterfield, Maria Forleo, I did not know their names from Adam. And you know what? A friend of mine, she's a mentor in this space. She kind of put it in an interesting way. She goes, people in New York or people in LA, when you have access. So a lot of these people that are really successful, they're in the middle of America, in these small towns. And you know what? You don't have access in the same way. So if you want access, you got to get on the internet. And so all these people that are crazy, crazy, crazy successful, a lot of them actually are not in the East Coast or the West Coast or from Chicago or these bigger cities and she said, she goes, it's so funny, people, she goes, because she's in this space and she, again, crazy, multi-millionaire times 10 over from a small town in Georgia. And she goes, all of my friends that are live in New York, everyone's late because we've been doing this for 10 years. Yep. We're not in the cities. And it just kind of it was just a really interesting connection. I'm oh my God. So anyway, she introduced me to this world. of making money online. I remember she goes, "You're crazy." She's like, "Why aren't you monetizing your knowledge?" I remember being like, "What does that even mean?" And she taught me, she's like, "You should be, why don't you do like a live Zoom course?" I'm like, "And teach what?" I'm like, "I'm not a teacher. I make video. Brands hire me to make video. What am I going to teach? I'm not a teacher." She goes, "You are not looking at this properly." And she was so adamant. And then the COVID hit. And I'm like, oh my God, I have to go online. Like so many businesses, right? That all of a sudden were like forced to become e-com or digital or figure out like what they're going to do brick and mortar online. I was in the same boat. And so,
here's what I'm hearing. Every time an opportunity knocked on your door, you were like, "Oh no!"
Yeah,
You
no.
were trying to shut the door on them, and they are pushing the door open, saying, "No, Patrice, you need to look at this differently." I mean, I love it. It's amazing that you actually came into the online world.
And now it's my revenue. Like it trumps. Like it's unbelievable. And so then to 2020, I got online. I was a business owner first, and this is what I always say. I have such empathy for people that are afraid to show up on video and go on video and talk because I get it. I came from the video world. I worked with people to go on national television. Yet when it's yourself and the camera's on you and you have to get on camera, all of the bad stuff just goes straight to your brain. I'm not good enough. Why would anyone care what I have to say? My voice is horrible. I'm not that cute. I'm too old. I'm too young, whatever it is. And so it took me 3 years from starting my business to actually take my own camera, look at it, and like talk about what I do and what I think what I know and this knowledge that I've had, at all these places. I didn't think anyone would care. And so it's just, I get it. I get why going on video is scary because I had the same negative thoughts. And so, but I had no choice. I was pregnant with my third and my business was shut effectively because of COVID. So I'm like, I literally have nothing to lose, number one. And it's like, this is a necessity. Like I need to contribute, we're a double income family here in New York. Like I got to get myself to work. So I didn't even think about, and all of a sudden, all my nerves and my fear, I'm like, don't care.